Hello, 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 hello. I'm Lynn Browder, and I have a son, Owen, who is 12, and he has autism. We paint together, working on his fine motor skills. He helps me paint the backgrounds with a hand-over-hand method, and then I paint the rest. He's actually getting to the point where when we do it together, I go back and kind of straighten out, like he doesn't do the edges and get it so it's kind of covering most, if not all, of the edges. Sometimes I even miss parts of that. But lately, he's starting to actually do more of the background by himself without me having to do the hand-over-hand method. Sometimes he still has moments or days, but he's doing so much more of it, and that makes this mama very, very happy. So, mixed day. He had a pretty good day with his grandma. He had a pretty good day morning before he left, and then he had a pretty good night, but there was just a few moments where he doesn't like when it's not his turn, which is all the time, or not. He wants it to be his turn all the time, I'm trying to say. When we're in the car, he doesn't want to ever go any way besides the way he wants to go. And so I'm trying to get him to realize that that is not always possible. But meltdowns happen pretty quickly sometimes. So he was upset because we went away he didn't want to on the way home, and it caused him to have a meltdown. But otherwise he did pretty good today. There was a sensory showing movie where they kind of turn the lights down and make it a little bit quieter. They don't like have it blaring, and don't worry about like if the kids get up screaming, any of that. Like it's just a way to be able to show it to them without having to worry about if you're interrupting or doing anything else while they're watching the movie. And I was trying to get him to go, but he did not want to go. He wanted to go to Grandma's, and that was that. And so we went to Grandma's. I took him there, and he had a wonderful time with my mom. They have such a close bond, and I'm so excited about it. My mom and I are really close, but and I was always close with my grandma, both of them actually. Well, I had great grandmas and grandmas, so I was very fortunate. But I just love that Owen is really close with my mom, and they had a good day, and it was just the meltdown on the way home for me not driving where he wanted me to drive. But that's kind of one of those things that happen. Let me see here. I was going to use my same brush, but sometimes the black then is hard to get out of the paint brush. And since generally I use one paintbrush at a time, while I'm painting, but since I'm using the black, I thought I would use. And I already used a second paintbrush for the back of this to begin with. So, and it's not like I can't use all of my paintbrushes. It's how I paint sometimes. I just don't paint with all of them. So, I'm making a bird out of this thord. Kind of an ostrich, kind of a something bird, I'm not sure. Whatever you want to call him. So I'm just going to put lots of colors in here to fill in the spaces. So, I'm tired tonight. Owen woke not too early in comparison to sometimes, but he woke up by 4, and I told him to go back to sleep, and that was not going to be something that he wanted to do, which is not something he normally would want to do. But he proudly claimed that he was awake, and that was the end of that. So I didn't, I almost dropped paint everywhere, because I always put way too much paint on my paintbrush. If you've watched before, you know this is a big time thing with me. But we saved it. Oh. So, Owen has been twisting his hair, twirling it, whatever you want to call it, and he's now getting a bald spot on the top of his head. And this is hard because it's like it's a comfort for him while he's doing other things, but it's also hard because he's getting this bald spot on the top of his head. And I mean, he doesn't really even begin to understand that he's getting a bald spot on the top of his head because he's twisting his hair. But I don't want it to be like a constant problem for him as he grows older. I want to try to redirect that behavior, only because, he's pulling out his hair while he's doing that. And I mean, he's not in any pain from it, but it's hard. That's my baby, and I don't want him to suffer or to, there's a million, my heart just aches that it's difficult for him to have something like that, and to process that he doesn't need to pull out his hair. And like I said, he doesn't even realize that that's what he's technically doing. Like, it's not something he's out to pull out. He's trying to pull out his hair. That's just a stemming motion that he does. Like, he bites his finger, and I've been trying to teach him breathing techniques, and to get him calmer. Again, not doc. Instead of letting it elevate to where, it's another type of stemming where he uses that to kind of calm down and go through all of his emotions with that. So I have this blue, but it's so thick that it's not like not pouring out correctly, or not streaming out correctly, so I'm going to use a different blue. Gonna use a different blue. Well, I think I am. Let's see if it comes out any thinner than the other. The weather plays such a big role in my paints and what they do. Even though I'm inside, it's still like the humidity and the cold does all kinds of things to the paints. So just have to kind of get through all of that there. So today was kind of one of those, I don't know, emotional days, I suppose, with Owen. Just when he yells and he has meltdowns over something like traffic or the way I drive home, the way we go someplace, or if he gets upset, like if we have to stop at a red light or this type of thing, it's very hard for him to even comprehend that we would ever have to stop at lights and what that means to him. It's just, it's hard. And so knowing that it's hard and having to deal with how he handles everything, it breaks my heart sometimes, because I just want it to be easier for him. I don't want it to be so hard for him to process something or to get upset about a red light, because it's just emotional. It's very emotional for me, and that again just kind of breaks my heart that a red light would cause huge meltdowns from him. But it does, so teaching him calming techniques and teaching him how to kind of breathe through things. That's what I spend a lot of time doing with him, to get him to realize that he can breathe through it, and he doesn't have to get as emotional about something that is truly hard for him. But that's even hard. So just one of those things we have to keep doing. And the older he gets, the more he's making these connections. And the connections are what I want for him. I want him to be able to realize that he can breathe through those moments, and he can truly calm himself down enough to process what's going on, and hopefully it not be as traumatic for him to do something. And then when we got home, he stood outside the car before I could get him. He wouldn't come in, and there was some people down from us that were parking their car, and I hadn't seen them before, and Owen was screaming about different things, and them standing there watching him just made him more upset. And so he doesn't know how to express all of that necessarily, but he knows that he is standing there, and that also just upsets me, because I understand the people are looking because someone's screaming, but they don't understand that them staring at him and looking is making it harder for him to process or move forward. And I mean, that's just, people, like I said, if someone's screaming, they're going to look, but that just made it even harder for him. So it stays like that, where I don't have a way to kind of explain that to him or try to get him to calm. But hopefully the older he gets, the more he will kind of work through a lot more of those emotions. Getting close, almost there. A few more little things to get the colors in there. So few of this, and then I'm gonna put a few things on his beak, and then we should be done. Sometimes we need extra little flares here. And I'm fancying him up a little bit more than I was gonna do, but I feel as though we need it. I feel as though we need it. Just thinking that's, I almost stopped, and I feel like he deserves a few extra little doodads here. That's what I think. That's what I think. We're just gonna put little edge around here. Here we go. All right. Let's see. Just a few more little, I like to give it a second to kind of dry and then add another, layer of things on top of it, just to keep it extra. Okay. So I sign O for Owen, and then L and B. Alrighty, right. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great rest of your day. Toodles, toodles.